welcome. We're going to jump right into the visual principles that make great images, whether you're talking about film, photography, or art. We're going to break down that hidden language behind the pictures that really grab us.
You know that feeling, right? You see a photo or a shot in a movie, and it just clicks. It feels balanced, it feels powerful, and it just pulls you right in. But why?
Well, it is not an accident. What feels like magic is actually composition, a whole set of carefully crafted techniques that are designed to guide your eye and, more importantly, your emotions.
So think of composition as like the invisible architecture of an image. It's the framework that artists and filmmakers use to tell a story, to create a feeling, or, just to make something look incredibly cool. It's their secret language.
And you know what the best part is? You've spent your entire life reading these images. You already intuitively know what looks good. This explainer is really all about putting names to those instincts so you can start speaking this language yourself.
Now, these aren't strict, unbreakable rules. Not at all. Think of them as guiding principles, a toolkit, really. Understanding them just gives you the power to create images with real intention and to control how your audience feels and what they see.
Okay, let's dive into the first set of tools. Every image needs a focal point, right? A subject. So how do we make absolutely sure the viewer's eye goes exactly where we want it to go?
First up is probably the most famous technique in the whole book, the rule of thirds. Just imagine laying a tic-tac-toe grid over your image. The basic idea is you want to place your key elements along those lines, or even better, right on the points where they cross.
Just look at how Stanley Kubrick uses it here in 2001. The astronauts' faces land right on those power points. See, this off-centered placement, it just feels more dynamic, more natural. It invites our eyes to explore the rest of the frame instead of just getting stuck in the middle.
Okay, another incredibly powerful tool is using lines. Our brains are literally wired to follow lines, and you can totally use this to your advantage to create a visual journey for the viewer, leading them right to your subject. These can be obvious lines, like a road, or much more subtle.
And this is just a brilliant illustration of one-point perspective, which Kubrick loved. See how all the lines in the set, the walls, the lights, everything, they all converge towards that astronaut. The architecture itself is forcing our attention right where it needs to be and creating this incredible sense of forward motion.
But lines don't always have to go to the center. Here, the diagonal lines of the grocery store shelves just pull our eye deep into the frame. It creates this sense of unease, of tension, as we follow them toward the soldier. It turns a totally mundane setting into something really dynamic.
So now we know how to guide the eye. Let's build on that. How can we use shapes and the space around our subject to add another layer of meaning?
Shapes carry their own psychological weight, In this amazing shot from Kill Bill, the characters form this distinct circle around the bride. That shape instantly tells us she is trapped, she's surrounded, she's outnumbered. The story is told before a single action even happens. It's brilliant.
This is a classic. By using elements that are already in the scene, like a doorway, a window, heck, even someone's leg, you can create this natural frame around your subject. It adds depth, it focuses our attention, and it can tell a little story all on its own. Okay, this is crucial. You have to understand the interplay between your subject, which we call the positive space, and the area around it, the negative space. Think of them as two sides of the same coin. That empty space is often just as powerful as the subject itself. Just look at how it's used in movies like Punch Drunk Love. By surrounding the character with all this vast, empty space, the director visually communicates his feelings of isolation, of being totally overwhelmed. The empty space becomes an active part of the story, reflecting what's going on inside the character. All right, let's take it a step further. Composition isn't just about what you see. It can also be about what you feel. Let's talk about adding rhythm and a more tactile, touchable quality to an image. Our brains absolutely love patterns. They create a sense of rhythm, of order, but the real magic happens when you break that pattern. Your eye is immediately, instinctively drawn to the interruption, the one thing that doesn't belong. Whether it's a single orange soda in a sea of blue water bottles or Andy Warhol making a statement, this technique demands our focus.
Texture. It's all about activating the viewer's other senses. Even though you can't physically touch a photograph, a really well-captured texture can make you feel like you can. It's about making the image tangible.
This quote just captures it perfectly.
A great textured image doesn't just show you something, it pulls you into a full-on sensory experience.
I mean, look at this. In this image, you don't just see the ocean, you can almost feel the cool water, right? You can hear the crash of the waves, maybe even smell the salt in the air. That is the power of texture. It transforms a simple visual into a vivid experience.
So wow, we have flown through some of the most powerful elements of composition. Let's do a quick recap of the amazing new tools you have to think about when you're creating or just looking at an image.
And remember, this is not a checklist you have to follow, religiously. This is a creative toolkit, so think of these as different brushes that you can use to paint your visual story, choosing just the right ones to create the exact impact you want.
So there you have it. You now have the vocabulary to deconstruct the images you love, and, more importantly, to construct your own with purpose and with intention. This hidden language is now yours to speak. So, the only question is, how will you tell your next story?